Uh, Hi, and welcome to a special bonus episode of the Goblins Pockets.
Yeah.
I'm Ian.
I'm Monica.
That's Michael, and we're here to tell you if you should buy things and whether they're worth your time or your money or whatever. And specifically today, this is a bonus action episode. Sorry, bonus
Bonus
action.
action. Are you thinking of
God, I'm
D&D?
obsessed with
Oh,
Dungeons
we
and
need to
Dragons.
call our bonus episodes the bonus
And
actions. Come
okay, this
on.
is a bonus action. Yeah. And we're gonna review we're gonna do a light review of Mordenkainen Presents Monsters of the Multiverse.
What a
Which
title.
I mean, it's certainly a mouthful. And it's something that released this week. I think came on the 16th.
Yeah. It's
And
hot
it's
off the press.
it's a hot topic. So, we'd be crazy if we didn't review it and tell you guys whether you should buy it. Now, if you've bought it already, you're probably always going to buy it. And most people know whether they're going to buy this sort of thing before it comes out. Straight off the bat, it's a $30, £30, €30 book. It's a full book, and for most people that won't be off-putting. But if you're on the shelf about whether you should buy this, then we're gonna give our opinion.
We're here to help.
We're here to help. So I got hold of the digital version of this, and Monica is going to be learning along with us.
Yes.
The reason I reviewed this mostly is because I think I've got like a monster manual, and you've been playing longer than I have. But well, I think because we talked about this and we agreed that I would do it because I'm more commonly a DM.
Yes. So
And yeah, go ahead.
in this duo, as you may call it, I'm more player than DM, and you, Ian, are more DM than player. We're both we've both DM'd and we've both played. However, we're not
I identify as a DM.
Exactly. I identify as a passionate player. Therefore, I think it makes more sense for Ian to review this because, from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is a resource that is better suited probably for DMs.
And this is where I will correct you to a point. Yeah, I think the way that this book is marketed is very much towards DMs. It's kind of Monsters of the Multiverse, and it is coined as an accompaniment or a companion to the Monster Manual. So the Monster Manual's got like 300 monsters in it, and that's the breadth of the book. 300 pages, 300 monsters. That's kind of what it's about. Monsters of the Multiverse is coined as having 250 additional monsters. And for those of you who are a bit more knowledgeable of 5e, you may know that this book is Mordenkainen. He's already got Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. No, is it? Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah,
and then
the right one.
Yeah, and this book actually precedes that. It trumps it. They've discontinued Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, and they've discontinued Volo's Guide to Everything, and they've kind of mashed those two things together. And if you had those two books and this is news to you, and don't worry, they're still valid in a sense. If you've got them on D&D Beyond, you still have access to them, but you can no longer buy them on D&D Beyond. So this book is very much kind of targeted at DMs in that respect. However, there is one massive thing that makes this valuable to players as well.
Okay.
And that's the fact that there are 33 additional player races in it.
33.
So the player's handbook has 7. But it's 7 playable races in it. And they've got sub races, you've got your different types of gnomes and things like that. But in Mordekainen's, there are 33 additional player races. And as a player, you might be like, what? Well, then I need this. Surely I need this. And that's somewhat problematic because the first 30 or 40 pages, are player races, and they're very much useful to a player. But then the rest is all monsters. So if you're really into metagaming and you like to know what you're going to be combating when your DM pulls it out of the hat, then you're gonna
it's for you.
You get a real rise out of this. But really, I see this as get your DM to buy it. If you're part of a bigger group and you're about to start your sessions here, you're about to kick off a campaign, then maybe everyone chips in a few quid towards it, but fundamentally the DM gets to keep it because they're going to be using it on the regular. Once you've created your character, this book will sit in the cupboard. Like, you create a character, you pull off a race that you like the sound of, and you stick it back on the shelf.
It's a use it and snooze it.
Yeah,
that's the thing I've just made up.
Oh,
It's a
I like
use
that.
it and snooze it book.
Exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. Like, whereas the player's handbook is you crack it open for rules all day, every day. This one is literally just got the bit about your race that you might be playing. And the reason for these 33 races being added to this book is that it's kind of a compilation of all of the races from all of the source books all over the place. So if you've bought the Witchlight one that came out, or I can't think, there's all the books.
There's so many.
There's fucking so many books, and they've all got, Eberron's got a couple of races in. It's got like it's got the ogre and the hobgoblin and then goblin, and but they're all sprinkled around, 2 or 3 here, 2 or 3 there. This one compiles them all into it and has updated the rules, and now there's contention.
Okay. Tell me more. What contention?
In 5e's been around since 2014, 15, and we're pushing in. And some people will be, steadfast. I love to play an Aarakocra or a Goblin. Like, that's my race, and I like it because of this reason.
Yeah.
Chances are the rules are now different if you use the version that is in Monsters of the Multiverse. They have nerfed and buffed almost every class.
Okay.
So
can you give us a brief example of a nerf off the top of your head?
Okay, so Aarakocra, for anybody who doesn't know, Aarakocra are bird people. So they have arms, legs, and then a set of wings on the back, and they've got the head of whatever bird you're into, eagle, owl, whatever.
Whatever bird you're into sounds is going to be taken out as a clip.
Bird stuff. And previously they had a walking speed of, I think, 25 feet, because they walk like chickens, but they had a flying speed of 50 feet like per round, which is massive. And you can fly, and it's fast. Maybe 40. No, I'm not.
Well, okay, no rule lawyers.
It was a
here,
lot, and it was fast. And that kind of made them a bit OP in the movement. And then if you had an Aarakocra monk, which is a really popular build, and you keep adding on to
120 feet per round.
Man, they get quick. Yeah, they get quick real quick. They also have talons. They've got scratchies. So previously it was like you can do a 1d4 unarmed strike, rather than currently the unarmed strike is just your, it's 1 with strength modifier or whatever. They have made it and also it got a +2 to dexterity, and I think a +1 to wisdom, something like that. In a lot of the new books, Tasha's Cauldron, the Witchlight, they've kind of gotten rid of this concept of races having stat boosts in certain areas, because it's discriminating, saying, you're saying that all Aarakocra are this and all goblins are that, and it's like, okay,
it makes it a bit more fun to personalize to give certain faults to your character that normally wouldn't have.
And all 33 races in this new book have this +2, or no, you can add 3 stats bonuses ups to any ability, like either 1 1 1 or 2 and 2 and 1, and that's how you distribute now. So that's changed as well. So in the new books, Aarakocras have a flying speed equal to their walking speed, which is now 30. So you're a bit more balanced, some would say. Again, if you have that kind of the monk buff thing, it still scales, and it scales with your walking speed, that sort of thing, and that's fine. But then they buff the claws, the scratchies. You get a D6 now. So
so it balances out a bit more.
Yeah, and they gave them a free spell as well. They get Gust of Wind or something like that. So like, I don't want to get into the details, but that's the sort of thing, and there's lots of it. And if you want to get into that, there are plenty of videos out there to go and listen to all of the ins and outs. But fundamentally, the rules have changed for all of these races. That is completely down to your table. If you're running if you've got a DM who's got the old books, the Volos and the Mordenkainens, and he says, nah, my races still run as they did previously, cool, do what the hell you want. Like that's your prerogative. But
Absolutely.
if you are starting a new campaign and you're getting this book and you're saying, oh, session 0, let's build characters together and this is how your races will be, then these rules are different to the current rules. Better,
Okay.
worse, more balanced, it's all down to opinion. But that is where players would find this useful.
Okay. And like, let's get down to it. Is it worth getting if you are a new player or a new DM? Like, should you start out with this in your repertoire, as one might say? Or do you think it's something that probably more experienced players and experienced DMs would enjoy because it gives them more variety in terms of the monsters and in terms of the races that you can play?
Truth be told, if you were completely new to D&D, like you had a group of 4 of you, and nobody had ever played, you're going to need a player's handbook between you.
Yeah.
Monster manual, I've always thought, is optional.
Okay.
So if you don't already have a monster manual, get this.
Okay.
Because you're missing out a lot. You've not got dragons in here. You've not got your bread and butter D&D monsters. But you can access that information in other places if you needed to. However, if you're like, yeah, fuck it, like I don't care as long as I pull some monsters out of this book, like then go crazy. There's a shitload of really cool monsters in here and
nice.
30 additional player races. So from that session 0, if you've got one player handbook between you and Mordenkainen's Monsters of the Multiverse, you can set up and have a great campaign.
Okay.
There won't be there's no dragons in it really, but there's shitloads of great, fantastical monsters in it.
If you're on session 0, you're probably not going to fight a dragon anyway, or not fight and succeed. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So
if you've got a bit more money to spend, and you are, say you're a new DM and you've got your player's handbook, you've got dungeon masters, you've got a monsters manual, and you've got some spare money, get it. It's only going to improve and add to what you already have. The other way to do this, obviously, we've spoken about briefly on D&D Beyond, is buy them separately. Every monster and every race costs $2.
Yeah.
So, if
and
there's...
in that case, I probably have a bit of an opinion, which is I would say if you're using it to play a particular race because you know that you'd really love to play, I don't know, whatever, a deep gnome or an eladrin, I don't know, like something that's outside of the player's handbook, then I think that's a worthwhile investment. Like you get a lot out of that $2 and you're going to really enjoy it for the 20 levels that you're going to play if you get to the point.
This is it. Like, I think structure-wise, it works a lot better for D&D Beyond members, because if you're a player in D&D Beyond, all this is basically done is said, right, we're getting rid of this old version of this, and now you've got this version.
You got that one instead.
So you can buy it, and that's how you roll as a player. If you're a player and you use D&D Beyond, do not buy the whole book.
Yeah.
Just buy the race or two that you
want. Exactly.
Not worth it.
Monster wise, I personally, because people who access monsters generally DM, I don't necessarily think that getting that one monster is going to change your life. I think if you want more variety on your table, probably getting the whole book could be really useful to you. Because, or the whole pack of monsters.
Every monster costs $2 and you can buy them all individually. So if you really wanted to, you could spend $500 buying individual monsters.
Yeah.
So don't do that, DM. Just buy the book. If you think you're going to use some of the monsters from it and you want to add more to your kind of monster repertoire, then buy the book. This is a DM book in that respect. But like I said, if you're buying physical books and you're playing in person and that's your vibe, maybe split the cost of it between the group. I think you'd all get you get lots of value out of it, especially if you're doing lots of one shots or short campaigns where you're trying new new races out all of the time. This book, you're going to get a lot of fun out of it. But if you're a player, I wouldn't buy the whole book. Just buy what you need. There's a really cool thing in the back of it as well for DMs, and this is something that I like that I don't think has been hyped up quite as much, is so it goes through the list of page by page 250 monsters, and then at the back it breaks them out. So it's not just an appendix of alphabetical order. It breaks them out into, it's like you can do it by area, environment, sorry. So if you're like, okay, I'm in a desert, you go on here and it will show you all of the monsters
that's cool
that are specific to desert environments or forests, or there's Arctic creatures.
Does the monster manual do that, or is it?
I honestly can't remember, and if it does, I've never used the feature. I don't think it does. It's just an A to Z at the
Oh,
back.
okay.
So yeah, it's just an A
It's
to
just an
Z.
A to Z.
I
That's
think
very
I
useful to
think that's
have
really
like
good.
different.
And then the other thing they've done is they've grouped them by challenge rating. So you
Oh,
can go and you
that's
can go,
nice.
oh, I need a challenge, a CR4 creature, and you can go here and there's a list of and then what page they're on.
That's amazing.
So I think it's got what page they're on. If it's not,
Well,
I'm checking
then you can
shit.
go, you get the name, then you go to the
No,
alphabetical list and you
no, it
find
has.
them.
It's got the page next to them as well. So you can do that. And yeah,
So this is actually
it's
a
a cool
question I was
tool.
going to ask you. It's like usability. Do you
Mm,
think it is user friendly? It seems to me
yeah.
that you're saying, yeah, like it's actually really well organized.
Yeah, and I think you've got a lot of people who have got their feathers ruffled about it trumping these other two books. And
Mm,
a lot of the people who are upset because there is a lot more lore and background in these other books that has now been superseded. So it's going to upset some people. If you're a bit newer to D&D and you haven't got those old books, you're going to love this book. And if you
yeah.
are old school and you're open to accessibility and a bit more ease of use, this book's really cool. It's
Okay.
actually really useful, and I could see myself running monsters from this more than the monster manual, which is
That's
saying
very,
something.
very
Yeah, it's
impressive for you because
it,
you don't like to splurge
no.
on things you're not going to use,
No,
So,
I mean, but equally, I don't use a monster. I've got a monster manual, and the way I use a monster manual is inspiration. I flick through it, and something catches my eye, and it's like, okay, yeah, and I'll build an encounter around that, and I use
cool.
encounter builders that are on the internet and things like that, so that I've got tabs open and stuff. So the monster manual for me is more of an inspiration thing,
Mm,
and this is another great form of inspiration.
yeah.
Um, if you need stuff on the fly as well, this is a lot more useful than the monster manual.
Yeah. Challenge
Um,
rating probably does really help to
yeah,
just
that sort of thing's
whip
really
out
cool. I
a
mean,
monster
that
that's
is the
not going to
sort of thing
TPK.
that's yeah, sorry. That's the sort of thing that's on a lot of these encounter builders anyway. So depending on how you run combat,
Mm,
this is just full of great ideas, I think.
okay.
Um, so yeah, I think that's it. Like so should you spend your hard-earned money on
Yes.
it? Players, probably not. I would encourage your DM to buy it and then use it for character creation,
Chip in,
or
maybe chip in because you're
yeah,
a nice
chip in
player.
because you're a nice person, or do it all on D&D Beyond and pay $2 per race. I think you're going to get a lot of enjoyment out of the races. I think there's some really cool changes. I don't want to go into the details,
That's okay. We don't need to.
but yeah, it's a refresh. It's an update. It's a buff. It's a balance. Like buffs, nerfs, balancing. It's
Yeah.
good. I've got no problems with most of the things they've done. Some stuff, a lot of it's very min maxy, like combat specific things,
Mm,
and you can go find that somewhere else. So that's player opinion. DM opinion. If you want another 250 monsters, like there weren't enough monsters in the other book, then this is great, and it's also way more user friendly than the monster manual. So if
okay.
you've been running a monster manual for a long time, push it to one side
Yeah.
and spend a few quid on this. I think you're going to get some good legs out of it.
Yeah. Get some
Yeah.
new inspiration, just some fresh faces in your campaigns that
Mm.
may or may not kill your party. But hey, that's
Yeah.
what D&D is all about.
Yeah.
So do you feel like you want to rate it or do you want to hold judgment for now?
I can
And
rate it. I think,
okay.
I've not really used it. So I need to remember this number because I would probably rate it higher than the monster manual, which we will review
We
at
will
some
get
point.
to. Okay.
Just so that it is an episode in here. I think we talked about doing a split episode where we did monster manual and the
Yeah,
DM's
DM guide.
guide.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this is useful. I'm going to put it as a 15, like just
Solid.
because it's around that kind of. It's useful. It's
Yeah.
very useful. It's very cool. I like all the diversity stuff that wizards are doing, and all of this scrapping because a big part of this race traits thing where people are like, oh, a Goliath is +2 strength and +1 con. That is what they should be because that's their
Yeah.
Goliath. Like all that means is that people only ever pick Goliath for barbarians, fighters, you know,
that's it.
like, and if they, you know, the people who don't mind, you know, jiggering their numbers around and taking a floor here and being a strong wizard and things like that, they're doing it for fun. That's cool. Like, good for you guys. But this just gives you the option to go, do you know what? No, I'm going to be a lanky Goliath. Yeah, I'm 7 foot, but I'm skinny as a rake and I'm super intelligent. Extra 2 to my intelligence, get that to 20 as quick as possible.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm a wizard. Yeah, brilliant. And the options there. So I really like a lot of these things that are being done.
It comes from a change, like from the when I think it started with scrapping alignment, right? That was like one of the first things of like, well, it's really like it clips your wings if you can only play a goblin if it's evil, or a tiefling if they're evil, like, and a celestial if they're good. And there's a limiting factor there, which is like, well, okay, but what if I don't want to play an evil goblin? What if I like goblins because many reasons, but I just don't necessarily want to play an evil goblin?
Yeah, and
it started out as that, and now it's expanding into your character is your own to make.
Yeah.
You know?
And I would encourage players and DMs to do this regardless. If you're literally about to play, you're about to sit down this weekend and do your first session 0, and all you've got is a player's handbook and the 7 original races in there, and you're like, well, I want to be a wizard, so it makes sense for me to be a high elf because they've got a +2 to this and a +1 to that. Just scrap it. Just put 3 points in whatever you want. Pick the race that is like, fuck, I love dwarves. And yeah, I'm going to do a high intelligence, like high dex dwarf. And that's what I'm going to do. Like,
agreed.
Well, I know, I don't want to get into it, like dwarves +2 and +2, but some like
that's a topic for a different day.
Yeah, but yeah, if you're going to pick an elf because you're like, yeah, if you want to have a big, bulky, strong elf, yeah, fuck it, put +2 and on strength and +1 on constitution. Why not? Who cares? Like, don't worry about those additions and what race they are better or what class they're better at and things like that. That's actually something that I anticipate coming off the back of this as well, is another book that's going to be an amalgamation of classes. I wouldn't be surprised if that comes.
That I'm looking forward to that, because
that's another absolute shit show, especially like the classes are just all over the place, and
absolutely
you have to buy so many books to get access to those cool things.
I never remember what classes where, and it's just a whole
that's again one of those reasons that D&D Beyond can be a lot more functional. But but yeah, that's my opinion of Mordenkainen Presents.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing it. Thank you for
no worries
for reading through it. I think you might hear my floofer in the distance. If so, I apologize. She does not respect privacy or silence. That's not something she does.
I'm sure she's just looking after you.
She absolutely is. She's protecting. She protect. But thank you so much for sharing this with us and for reading through it. And if any of you have any questions about Mordenkainen, if you want to know any details or like specifics or other opinions that Ian might have, please let us know on Instagram or via email at thegoblinspockets@gmail.com. And become a Patreon, guys.
Yeah, do it. And because I'm pretty sure we're going to put this out today to patrons, but we probably won't put it out to the general public for a fair few more days.
You get access to something
early
sooner.
Access. So do that, and we'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time.
Yeah, have a good one. Bye.
Bye, guys.